And we are live. We're just going to hang about a little bit to see if more people will join in, and then we start talking about the Nashville thing. And John said he knows we are live. We're just going to hang about a little bit to see if more people will join in, and then I'm blaming myself, obviously. There we go. Okay, we're back. So, what do you think we can talk about, John?
Well, it's just this what you brought up last week about if the House of Fun, if there's a better name to attract a bigger, more serious audience.
Well, yeah, that's a good topic. That's why because I did listen to what you said, and that's why I changed the name for today in Modwain tries to understand the Nashville statement.
Yeah. No, I just thought, as I say, it's not something where, I had some thoughts. I thought, well, there's no reason I've got the answer. Other people, if it's talked about more widely and other people are able to join in, they might be able to come up with something.
No, true that. And it's I mean, maybe changing the name isn't that important, but at the same time, who knows? It might be the trick.
Well, as I say, people, if it's like I've never watched the Bloodsports or the Warski Stream or the Comité, but I know all the names.
Mm.
And when you use the name, people know what you're talking about.
So, Modwain's Bloodsport Comité.
No, Modwain's definitely not a Bloodsport Comité.
Yeah. Indeed.
No, but you see what I'm saying? It's like the problem with House of Fun is it's great and catchy, but doesn't convey any levity.
And I understand that because I agreed with you last time we spoke about this. But at the same time, to me, it actually does. But yeah, then again, I might be an idiot.
No. But the problem is like you've got to try and think: what if I've never heard of anything, and I just see the title, House of Fun?
Uh-huh.
It just sounds like people having a laugh, mucking about.
It is in a way, isn't it?
No. But the problem is what we define as those things isn't what other people might imagine to be those things.
Yeah, that is true. Well, it was kind of based on that Madness song.
Oops. Oh no! I know. Alicia's in the chat.
Yeah, Alicia. I sent you an invite, Alicia. I really wanted you to join, to be honest, today. Never mind. Why never mind?
You said Modwain late, never mind. Barely late.
Was I late? I thought we...
No, but her.
Oh, she's late. Well, she's
you
always...
Modwain late, never mind.
But you want to join in, Alicia? You are more than welcome. Actually, I thought this topic would be right up your street as well.
Yeah. An actual theist. Atheists discuss what's wrong with theist statement.
back to the atheist of fun thing. It was based on Madness is how fun.
Yeah.
So
what I'm saying is, we're of an age, okay? We know the reference. Imagine you're 25. You've probably never heard of Madness.
Yes, that is Madness, really.
Yeah, well, it is.
Right in there. Whoop-de-doo. Tongue in cheek. Yay. But yeah, no, I'm
saying if you just see something called House of Fun and you have no contextual information, it just sounds like people having a laugh. It doesn't say it's a discussion stream. It doesn't say it's open to all points of view. Hi, Juz.
Hey, Juz.
Hey, guys. Hey.
Check.
Everybody hear me?
Yeah.
Mate.
All right. I got to do some switcheroo here.
Can I ask a question, Juz?
Sure.
Do you believe in God?
Sorry, what?
Do you believe in God?
I'm agnostic.
Okay. No, it's just that tonight's discussion is based on something put out by Christians, and I'm an atheist, and Modwain's an atheist.
Well, it's a little complicated for me. I've been through various factions of religion. My family is religious on different levels. My grandfather turned Jew. My family's mostly Christian. I've been through the Seventh Adventist day. And in the end, I realized that they're all the same lying baloney. So I decided, you know what, I'm just going to be agnostic. But there is an understanding. I understand their understanding of God, whatever they believe in.
Okay.
I do also respect that because otherwise you demonstrate idiocy.
Yeah. Oh, well, I mean, I don't have, I've got friends, hopefully good friends, who are religious, not necessarily Christian, but religious. I've got a whole mix in my family.
Mm-hmm.
For instance, an atheist walked into a synagogue with some Christians and a Muslim to go to a bat mitzvah. I was the atheist. My parents were the Christians, and a niece's husband is the Muslim.
I have to say, mate, that's a crap joke.
No, it's not a joke.
That's probably the funny part. It's not really a joke.
It's not a joke. It's just,
Oh,
yeah, and obviously, my other niece, or another niece, is the one who is Jewish.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's like, yeah,
I mean, I studied these religious because of family, church, school, you name it. I studied them for long periods of time. I mean, I studied religious on Seventh Adventist Day for about 10 years. I studied Christianism in church with family for about 10 years. And when my grandfather became a Jew, that was a controversy to the family. But I also studied that for about, 5
yes, he converted, because that isn't that usual.
Yes, but it's unusual for my family. He was, my grandfather was a Christian missionary.
Okay.
For, 30, 40 years. He was also a military man, and he was also an airplane designer, and he was a Marine. So, it's a little complicated when you spend most of your life looking at a person one way, and the past 20 years or so, he was a Jew. Did
he marry into the faith?
No, his wife wasn't Jew. She decided they should be Jews.
Oh no, okay, no. As I say, because my niece is Jewish, because my brother's wife is Jewish, and in Judaism, the faith passes down the female line.
Yeah, no, she wasn't Jew either. She became one, and she's the most weird person on the planet.
Okay. No, anyway, I was only asking simply for perspective, so that we know where you're coming from, because obviously I'm going to say things that might sound a bit mean to those of a religious inclination. Because
I have 2 ex-mother-in-laws. You can't really insult me.
Oh, I have no intention of insulting anybody.
Oh no, people think I get insulted by religion, politician, or anything else. I'm past due on that, and I do understand religion probably better than some fathers and pastors because what I've been through and what I studied. But like I said, I know a lot, and I do respect their point of view. I don't have to be part of it. I just respect it.
See, my interest, I have a literary interest. That is, I'm interested in literature, and therefore the process of the writing of religious texts is of interest to me. And I'm also interested in history, and the beliefs of religions have had a profound influence on history.
Okay.
And so I actually know something of how Christianity, for instance, has changed. And it seems something that a lot of Christians I have conversed with are totally ignorant about. They're like, oh, no, it's Christianity, and it's all in the Bible, and it's always been the same. And nothing could be further from the truth. Christianity is changing. Not only is Christianity changing, but it's not even the same amongst all the different Christians who are there now.
Well, it's funny that we're doing this kind of subject today because about a couple of weeks ago, I was actually debating with somebody how far you think the American government will go to hold a secret, as well as the Vatican will go to withhold religious information from the rest of the population to keep it the religion as it is.
Mm-hmm. Well, we know that the Vatican has a sordid history of that.
Yes. Now, in the old times, it was a little easier to hide information from the public because social media didn't exist. So it was a little easier. Now with social media, how you think they will go about that when something comes up and it threatens the religion as itself? How do you think that would go?
Yes, well, they've faced that ever since Galileo, of course.
Well, the Vatican has a specialized, can't really call them soldiers. I would say religious.
Yeah, they have all kinds of groups. Yes.
Well, they're here in the United States right now. A bunch of soldiers and a bunch of their Vatican nerds are here in the United States studying a probability that might be physical proof that God doesn't exist. So the question comes down
you can't prove a negative.
Yeah, it's becoming quite debatable now. There are certain circles that are debating the possibility, and if it becomes a physical proof, then religious, as everybody knows, it is just a bunch of baloney. Now,
okay. Sorry, you're talking to an atheist. I already think it's a bunch of baloney.
It's okay, John. Now, the point is, if there was something like, you know, the story of the tree of knowledge, right? Don't eat from the apple. You learn everything that God knows.
Oh, the Christian or the Judeo-Christian version, because it's not the only one.
Yes. Now imagine that the question here is whether or not the tree of life would be real. Now you know what is the story behind the tree of life, right?
Well, you do know that the whole of Genesis is an allegory. It isn't meant to be taken literally.
Mm-hmm. But see, the tree of life is not in the Bible because it's not religious.
Sorry, you've lost me.
The tree of life is the tree that grew on the planet, on a planet, doesn't have to be this one. It grew on a planet. Mm-hmm. And as it grew, its fruits dropped and grew life. From every
that's unfortunately rather tautological, because the problem is if it's a tree, it's life. And therefore, it didn't create life because it already was life.
Well, so was the Big Bang. You can't really create
life. Well, I would point you at various physics books which would beg to differ. Plus, the Big Bang itself isn't actually as understood. Let's just say physicists argue about what happened, what the conditions were at the supposed Big Bang. You can't say before, because it created space-time itself. And there are all sorts of different theories about how it's a perpetual system, that there are multiverses where each I forget his name. I've got a book upstairs which explains it brilliantly, on which I understand not much of, about how there's a way in which universes can coexist in no space in one universe, even though there's a whole universe in there. And it's just something to do with the whole nature of it. And it's very weird. But
Okay. Now I didn't mean to take the conversation from where we were going, and just it's kind of a sensitive subject to most people. It's kind of to me because I try not to step into it, but I tend to put my foot.
Yeah, but it's more of a sensitive subject across your side of the pond. That's the problem. Is that we British are desensitized to it. Atheism is perfectly respectable and very widespread here, whereas in America it seems very controversial.
Well, that's what I try. I try not to come as aggressive against it because, to me, it's basically a bunch of baloney.
Well, you see, here's the thing: there are a lot of questions which people conflate down to one. One question is there a God? Okay. The second question is it this particular God as represented by this particular religion? And those are so fundamentally different questions. And yet they get conflated to be the same question. They're not the same question. They're different questions.
True. I mean, I had a friend of mine. He actually met a bishop. This is 20 years ago. And the bishop asked him the same question. Is there a God? Do you believe in God? And his answer was as simple as this. If I can't drink with it, I can't punch it, I can't screw it, it doesn't exist.
Yeah, I don't agree with that particular logic. It's flawed. But just because you don't know of something doesn't mean it doesn't exist. However,
well, to him, if it's not physical, then it...
Yeah, no, however, while something can exist, it doesn't matter that it exists. Do you see the difference?
Oh, I understand. I'm just saying he had a different kind of point of view on the whole thing.
But as I say, that to me seems a little not the best answer.
Well, to him, it's still the best answer. He's still using it, but
that's fine. He can have his answer. I'm not saying he shouldn't have an answer. I'm just saying I see a flaw in that logic.
Oh, absolutely. But people have their ways. I for example, people tell me if I believe in God, I tell them if I believe in God, now I have to believe in a tooth fairy, Bigfoot, Santa Claus, Donald Trump, and the list goes on and on.
Oh, good. Sorry, I was just reading Toxic Thread's comment. Yes, good. But yeah, no. I mean, exactly. The problem isn't whether there's a God; it's whether there's a specific God with specific characteristics, who has specific beliefs, and that you have to live your life in accordance with all of that. And that.
Hey, but we said we would wait 15 minutes before we started with the real topic. Shall we start with the real topic?
Okay.
Anytime you want, Modwain.
Okay, so we're going to talk about the Nashville narrative. No, not the Nashville narrative. Sorry, I'm going to put it at Article 1, the Nashville Statement. Now, before I'm going to start talking about it, I already put it up so people can see it. But before start talking about it, why am I going to talk about it? Because, here goes, the funny thing is, some Dutch people, amongst with Dutch religious politician, signed the Nashville Statement. They even translated it to Dutch so that more Dutch people can sign it. And now there are people in the Netherlands actually calling for, how do you call this, judicial measurements against this. Because how dare a politician agree with the Nashville Statement? Because the Nashville Statement is anti-gay, yada yada yada, blah 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 blah.
Can I just ask a question that literally only just occurred to me? Do you know anything about the organisation who wrote the statement? Because I think that might be interesting and relevant to some extent.
I have no idea. By all means, drop your weapon.
Yeah, John, if you have information, enlighten me.
No, I don't know. As I say, it just literally occurred to me because at the end of the day, somebody has put up a statement, right? and
Sure.
other people are signing it, but it is useful to understand who the people are. Do they represent anyone? I could make a website and put a statement up.
Yeah, well,
You with me?
these people claim to look at sexuality from a biblical point of view. The Council on Biblical Manhood and Womanhood.
Ah, that's what it stands for. Because I could see the bit about the coalition, but I didn't know what CBMW stood for.
And it's kind of funny because they have an article about the 250 Dutch pastors and leaders signing the Nashville Statement.
As you would.
Yeah, well, they would be proud, obviously, because amongst which there is one politician who's in the second or first house. I can't remember. I think second. So,
Okay,
yeah.
It also says that it's in partnership with the Ethics and Religious Liberty Commission of the Southern Baptist Convention.
Yep.
Whatever a Southern Baptist Convention is.
Well, just
I'm still a little bit out of it. I mean, in my understanding this correct, this is a religious factor that it was turned into an article, that it was turned into a statement that was signed.
Yeah, well, it seems to be an organization that has been set up. And the question is, who set it up? How's it funded? What's their
purpose?
The church.
Yeah, what's their propaganda drive, so to speak? Because it's like when we have an article by a feminist, we will look at who's written it and what their political position is as a way to understand what's written. And therefore, I think it's only fair we do something similar so that at least we know who's written it. Because as I say, if only 10 people in the world have signed it, it's like, okay, so these other people have signed it, but otherwise, no one cares. Or it could be, no, actually, this represents a massive tranche of Christianity.
According to the High Desert Pioneer, SBC is a bunch of corporate hacks. Could you clarify on that, High Desert? Because I wouldn't know. I thought they were just a church or something.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to understand, because I can't tell if they're a church, are they a religious statement on the website trying to proclaim a purpose or something else that I don't see right now.
Yeah, you see what I'm saying? It's like, it's one thing to talk about what it says, but if we don't contextualize it in terms of who these people are and why they might be saying it, we could go off on a big tangent and miss the point.
At this point in time, I'm more interested in what they are actually saying because of the way it's receiving backlash. As I was saying, in the Netherlands, certain pastors and politicians have signed the Nashville Statement, and now there are voices out in the Netherlands crying out for justice to be done because these people needed to be put up on charges for hate crimes and I don't know what more, stuff like that. And this is the funny thing, because I'm not that interested in who the CBMW organization is.
Oh, sorry. I'm just looking at the about statement for the CBMW, and it says, I scrolled. What's at stake? This is on their about page. In 1987, CBMW was established primarily to help the church defend against the accommodation of secular feminism.
Oh, color me surprised. No, I'm not surprised at all, to be honest.
But it's interesting. It's interesting that it is an explicitly anti-feminist organization, because now that contextualizes what they're saying.
To me, it doesn't make a difference, to be honest. But
it doesn't make a difference to what they say, but it also makes a difference to how we understand why they're saying it.
Well, I understood that already. I mean, in all fairness, I have read through the articles, and to me, again, I'm going to reiterate what I started to say. I wanted to talk about this because in the Netherlands, there are now calls out for hate crime, impeachment, and not impeachment. Well, yeah, it is impeachment because one of the guys is in the second house. They want to see if the law can step in. There are already lawyers out there who are saying, no, you shouldn't try to do this via the crown or via the public justice system. You try to do this in civil causes to fight them. The thing is, what made it so funny to me is that the tolerating left is absolutely intolerable of anyone who doesn't agree with them. And
yeah, we know that's the baseline. That's the starting position for everything they do.
Okay, let's see what High Desert Pioneer said as an answer. They're a conglomerate of Baptists that push incorrect doctrine. It was originally organized to compete with Rome. Bad calls. Lots of churches left since the 80s because of their changing agenda. Okay, so basically, they're religious nutwings.
But they're not that nutwings because they're anti-feminists.
Well, I mean, hey, listen. Even a broken clock is right twice a day.
I know, but there are so many less nutty people who aren't anti-feminist and in fact are very prone to subversion by feminism.
So in all fairness,
I mean, this national statement, I'm sorry, but it can't be that great. I just took a look at their initial signatories.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at the top list, and one name does come to recognition, and he's not religious at all. Unless he changed in the last 30 years.
That's a long time.
Yeah.
Well, he was a very bright psychotherapy or psychology student.
Yeah.
And
so who's this? What, have you got a name?
He was studying behavioral analysis on people that were commanded by a few words, which means it's the same crap that Charles Manson used.
Okay, but have you got a name for who you're talking about?
Excuse me?
Who?
John Piper.
Okay.
No idea who that is.
He's the founder and teacher of Desiring God Chancellor, Bethlehem College and Seminary.
Well, for an atheist, that's a very good job, isn't it? Desiring God at Bethlehem College. Sorry, I just find these things funny.
Anyway, so fair enough. I'm going to concede without any discussion that these people are idiots as well, if that's the point people are making. I'm not saying that is the point people are making, but what made it interesting to me is that in the Netherlands, even though most people don't know what the Nashville Statement is, I didn't, they're already talking about trying to get people who signed the Nashville Statement in a political position to be held responsible for having an opinion. So let's at least look at what that opinion is. So I wanted to go through the article. There are 14 of them. It's not a lot. And full clear statement, I'm not Christian. I'm not religious. I know religions. I don't care. If there's a God out there and he doesn't agree with me, well, then come bloody well down and talk to me.
Yeah.
No,
I'm an atheist too.
I'm going to assume there isn't. And if there is a God out there, he simply doesn't care about what I have to say. So, what goes around comes around. Oh, look at the entitlement in me. Anyway, let's go through the articles. I told you why we're going to do this. I told you my position on it. I'm curious what you all think. Let's get started. I was hoping Alicia was here with us too, because I really think this is something Alicia.
Yeah, well, she says she wants to, but she's got a phone call.
True that.
But she's listening and chatting, so...
I figured our local Dutch would be part of this conversation, but...
I am Dutch.
Well, besides you, the other guy.
Yeah, I just sent him, but he's trying to get his life up straight, so he's trying
Well, there's Smirkus, there's Dick
Yeah.
Cheesehead.
I was talking about Smirkers, but okay.
Yeah, I did send him, but I think he's trying to sleep. Anyway, Article 1. We affirm that God has designed marriage to be a conventional,
covenantal,
sexual, procreative, lifelong union of one man and one woman as husband and wife, and is meant to signify the covenant love between Christ and his bride, the church.
That's incorrect.
Say bullshit.
That's incorrect.
Sounds like we're back in prehistoric times where the wife just stays home and make babies.
No, it's not that. It's just that marriage wasn't even a thing until like 15th, 16th century, and the need to clarify property rights.
That's also not true, because marriage did exist well before that, but it was only done by the rich.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, but it wasn't the thing it is now, is what I mean. It's like, it wasn't everyone's got to get married.
But at the same time, marriage in itself was a lot different as well, because, for example, and I know this to be a fact in the Germanic cultures in Europe, a marriage was a man and a woman claiming to belong together. Period.
Yeah.
And then
we're a pair bonding species, and so it's not a surprise that a lot of cultures develop a way of recognizing people being a pair so that they can raise their children, stably.
Yep. So the whole God thing, I'm sorry, I disagree. That doesn't mean that I disagree with the union and marriage in itself. The motivation they put in it, I don't agree. But it is better for people to be together. And whether it's man-woman or man-man, woman-woman being together, well, argue would still be that man-woman is better than the other two options. But being together is the most important thing, in my humble opinion.
Yeah.
Okay. Can't really argue with that. People ask me if my marriage was good, and I tell them it was like any other marriage. And I even had a gay couple ask me, what do I think if they got married? I'm like, well, you know what? You're more than welcome to join the misery of us.
What's the website link? Okay,
I'm just going to paste into the chat now.
Okay, I was planning on doing that. But we deny that God has designed marriage to be a homosexual, polyamorous, or polyamorous relationship. We also deny that marriage is a mere human contract rather than a covenant made before God. Now, on this, I have to say I disagree, but I understand where they're coming from.
No, I'm sorry. Polygamy was in the Old Testament, so they can't say.
That toxic.
Wait, I have a question because I didn't understand what they just said. So this church is saying that gay people can get married?
No, they're saying that only straight heterosexual people can get married.
Only heterosexual marriage is valid,
and only single partner marriage. So no polygamy, and it's not a civil matter; it's a religious matter, and your civil aspects don't matter.
Yeah, but polygamy is just fine. I don't understand. There's no problem with polygamy. Why has everybody got a problem with polygamy?
Well, no, because
if the gays can get married, then the polygamists should be able to get married.
No, that's what they're going for. They're saying that it's not allowed same-sex marriage and one with many.
No, and what it's saying is, and that's what God has always said, and this is where I argue, because in the Old Testament there was a shitload of polygamy going on, including amongst God's first chosen, like Abraham, Jacob, and all those. And so, don't tell me that God never allowed polygamy.
He didn't.
In the bloody Bible.
It's in the Bible. It's in the Quran. It's Buddhism, Hinduism, Mormonism, Muslimism. I don't know
all of them.
What religion?
So that is wrong. Because they're saying we deny God, that God has designed marriage, blah, blah, blah. And it's contravened by the book. They're using
Which God are they? Which
this
God
is
are
all
we talking
Christianity.
about?
All Christianity.
Okay, so we're talking about the Christian God, Yahweh.
Yeah. That fish is good enough for Jehovah.
Jehovah, Yahweh.
I'm just sorry. Monty Python.
Alpha, Omega. Yeah, the problem is with marriages is government got involved, but.
No, but even if we don't go there, God has designed marriage to be. We deny that God has designed marriage to be homosexual. Okay, God didn't design marriage at all. Polygamous, again, God didn't design marriage at all, but allowed polygamy. Polyamorous, I'm sorry, but how is polyamorous any different than polygamous?
Yeah, it's kind of different.
How is it different?
Well, it's all about the numbers. Polygamous is normally one guy with many women or one woman with many guys. Polyamorous, it's many couples altogether. It's swing in a big number.
If you're going to allow one collection, then why not allow a different collection? Because it's only a numbers game, damn it, isn't it?
Yeah, they're constraining. This is a definition, constraining marriage very tightly to.
Now, I am going to make a small remark when it comes to polygamous. Sorry, I keep fucking up that word. My excuses. We know why in history polygamous marriages or polygamous structures existed, and we also know why in current society we like to keep the one woman, one man thing going. It's not per se natural that it's one woman, one man. But it's also not natural to be polygamous. It's more natural to be polygamous than to be, how do you call it, when one woman, one man?
Monogamous.
Monogamous, thank you.
No, but here's the thing. Okay, so
let me finish my point.
Sorry.
Because polygamy started at the very start of humanity. Why? Because
that speaks to the point. I'm going to contradict you on that.
Okay, well, we'll see. Women die during childbirth, which happened a lot, which was a huge problem, and men died during hunting. So what you wanted is a bigger chance for, once you started working in family ideas, for families to survive. How did you do that? By allowing more women and one or two men to mate. And you always wanted the strongest man. So this is basically what we still see in wolves, apes.
It's that genetic material chosen.
Yeah.
It's still going on. Trust me, I see it.
Yeah, the fertility fraud at 30% is apparently a historical constant.
The reason why we went to monogamous is political. And during actually well before that, because even in the Roman Empire, they recognized this. If you want to keep men docile, you want to have them coupled.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I think there's a far more evolutionary grounded basis to it than that.
Okay.
We know that overall, as an average, 80% of the women who've ever lived have left offspring, but only 40% of the men.
True that.
However, what we also know is that the rates at which this happened were not consistent. That is to say, imagine you have an offspring. You can have 1,000 generations, but if at a point there's a choke, then all your lineage is gone forever. Okay. True. So you can have a choke point, and that will distort the overall figures, because at that point, only 40% meant that all the others before that get eliminated. Okay. Now, as far as I understand it, there were specific choke points, the Bronze Age being one of them. The culture that gave rise to Judaism being one of them. It was a particularly abnormal situation with particularly high levels of polygamy due to the economic situation where you had these patriarchs, and then they had lots of slaves, and so the slaves' men didn't necessarily breed. and the patriarch had lots of wives. But that wasn't necessarily typical all the way through prehistory, where in a band, pairing would have been evolutionary advantageous because you want the father invested in the child. Does that make sense?
I'm not really getting you there, I have to admit.
Okay, what I'm saying is that in prehistory, as a more evolutionary hunter-gatherer state, polygamy probably wasn't that common because in a band it doesn't make sense, it doesn't work.
Actually, no, it does, but then it would be polyamorous. The alpha male would most likely.
But this alpha male thing's bullshit.
No,
people were mostly cooperative and not competitive.
Yeah, that's not really true. When it came to look at the very design of the penis.
Sorry, I had to laugh.
I'd rather not.
Of course you did.
There is a reason why the penis head is shaped the way it is. It's to basically try to pull out as much semen of anyone before you as possible. And this is not me saying, this is actually, well.
Ew, wait. Are you talking about uncircumcised man or
Well, yeah,
circumcised?
just natural.
No, circumcised or uncircumcised doesn't matter. It's the head.
How does it scoop out the other
Talk about
sperm?
procreating.
The tip of the penis, when it goes in, any fluid in front of it pushes over itself, and when he pulls it out, any fluids that he pushed behind the penis tip are stuck behind the penis tip.
You know way too much about this for my liking.
This is science.
That's I did not know that. I did not know that. That is fantastic. I always that's weird. That's weird to think about, and now I'm gonna have to share it with everybody I know. But, wow.
I would look it up and check
really
your facts first.
No, I don't. I'm not gonna check. I'm just gonna start spreading that shit around because it makes sense. It makes sense. Why do I need to check and verify when it logically makes sense? If you visualize it, if you visualize it in your head and you actually see it, oh my God.
Yeah, I mean, the fact is that paternity fraud is a problem. However, that doesn't mean that paternity fraud isn't happening on the basis of a fundamental pair bonded system.
I think it's unnatural. I think pair bonding is unnatural in the human species. I think that's why we have so many problems. It's we really have to be more selective. I think it's time to cut down on all this stuff and let's go hardcore and be really selective.
We go old fashioned, choose the best genetic in the round.
But
yeah, exactly.
You mean what do you call it? Eugenics.
Yeah, eugenics. Let's go eugenics. Except for not after eugenics, right? So it's only pre so effectively. Now let's go Gattaca. We'll go even further. Let's go Gattaca.
Yeah, Gattaca makes sense.
You sure about that?
At least everyone has good eyesight. As someone who's been plagued with bad eyesight, I would appreciate good eyesight.
I know. I'm just kidding. But I think what is the ramifications of the change, this evolutionary change that has taken place where we are pair bonding? Is that going to propel our species into a more correct direction? I think it would be wonderful.
Okay. People, I am going to take over the stream once again because I know I claim things and then people start to doubt. And then I have to prove.
I hold my hand up. I am the doubter. I am the skeptic.
Okay. So this is, I'm sorry, this is a 2-second search. So this isn't as comprehensive and et cetera, et cetera. But why is the penis shaped the way it is? it's really not an intuitive shape, and it's actually quite different from other penises of mammals that are closely related to us. Actually, we are unique. Our penis size is unique in most animals. First, the human penis. Oh, sorry, I'm going to do it like this. The human penis is relatively large compared to other mammals, and those lack of penile spines. It is believed to have developed due to our tendencies toward monogamous relationships. Well,
Thank you.
No, but I'm sorry, I'm getting there. Penile spines have nerve endings, enhancing sexual sensation. Without those spines, humans are able to engage in longer bouts of sex, enhancing their bonding and monogamy.
Yes,
Again,
thank you.
I agree with the bonding part. I do not agree with the monogamy part. And this is why. The mushroom shape, the human penis glands, and coronal ridge actually does have a reason behind its design too. The umbrella shape actually is used to remove the semen and sperm of anyone else who may have copulated with your woman during a certain period of time. This then helps ensure your sperm is the one who impregnates her. Evolutionary psychologist Gordon Gallup actually experimented with differently shaped phalluses, etc., etc., etc. This is not important.
That's
The
kinky.
important bit is, why is it shaped the way it is? To take out sperm. Now, look at that and look at the idea of monogamy.
No. I'm sorry. The 2 points are not mutually exclusive, and as I say, it just proves. Sorry, I apologize in advance for the sexism. It just proves that women are sluts. It doesn't prove that this is not done in the context of a general monogamy.
It's not that we're sluts. It's because we can get more poontang than you.
Of course, exactly.
Like, if I go into a bar, obviously I'm going to get more offers. It's just because we're the prettier sex.
I'm sorry.
And it's also your hormones during the ovulatory cycle.
True that. Both of you are correct, but the fact that the human penis is shaped this way means that the human species has been intercopulating out of monogamy for as long as time goes back.
And we know that. But it doesn't mean that the fundamental social relationship wasn't monogamous, or at least a pair bonding.
Well, but pair bonding and monogamy are not the same.
Yeah, okay, and it says in pair bonding monogamy, but as I say, it's like the monogamy. Yeah, I said we were pair bonders. You said we were polygamous, and I said no, we were pair bonders. So my pair bonding point stands. Thank you.
Monogamy and pair bonding still go hand in hand. Now, this is the funny thing, because a lot of people constantly miss it. But you can pair bond within a monogamy. You will just have several bonds.
You mean polygamy?
Yeah. You can have several bonds. I mean, as a human, you can bond with more than one woman, or with more than one man.
Well, my point was that the study of the genetic record seemed to indicate that it was only a particular, relatively short period that polygamy was so widespread, that the general behavior was...
No, because we're talking about an evolutionary process of hundreds of thousands of years.
Yeah, and I'm saying that people have done the research on the genetic variations, and that there were periods of polygamy as exceptions to more
periods of polygamy than periods of monogamy. And how do we know this? Because of the evolution of the penis.
No, but we also know, we can also trace how many men produce offspring at given times compared to how many women gave
Which
offspring.
goes with what is the reason the penis is shaped as it is?
Yeah, but as I say, so you can argue about the cause from the shape of the penis, but what I'm saying is that the genetic analysis shows that the polygamous periods were relatively short.
Yeah, no, you can't.
I'm not saying this. I'm talking about what I've seen in scientific papers or reported by scientific papers. I'm not saying I'm saying this.
I look forward to reading them, because I haven't read them, but they seem to go against everything that this is showing.
Yeah, okay, that's fine. These things happen.
Anyway, let's go back to this one. Anyone else want to add on Article 1? Is Article 1 something that we really have a huge problem with, whether we agree with it or not?
Yeah, I mean, the problem's this: any of the ones that talk about what God has done are meaningless to an atheist like myself.
True.
So
with it,
they are making, they're providing their axioms. Okay, Article 1 is providing axioms. They're saying our arguments are going to follow from these axioms. I dispute the axioms because the axioms depend upon a God, but in themselves, fine, that's what they think.
Yeah, so we don't really disagree with them. It's
not a matter of agreeing, it's just a matter of saying, okay, so that's what you think. Okay, I understand it.
Okay, so Juz, anything toxic?
Well, they both gone off.
Gone off the deep end.
Be right back. Be right back.
Okay. Article 2. We affirm that God's revealed will for all people is chastity outside of marriage and fidelity within marriage. Okay, I disagree with God.
But I think that is a much stronger claim than the previous one about polygamy.
True that. If it weren't for the fact of God.
No, but I mean, what they're saying is it is consistent with the Christian faith that once you get married, you be faithful.
Well, it is true, and this is true for polygamy and monogamy.
Yeah.
Once you're in a relation, the more you bond, the stronger your family becomes. But this doesn't mean that it has to be monogamous. It's the bonding thing that makes it.
No, but I'm saying, but as a statement, it is to me a consistent one with their beliefs.
Yeah. Okay, so we don't have to go on the affirm part. We deny that any affections, desires, or commitments ever justified sexual intercourse before or outside of marriage, nor do they justify any form of sexual immorality. Now, this, to me, is my moral ground. Or rather, this is their moral ground.
Yeah, again, you know, as I say, they're laying down positions from which to build their arguments. I think, you know, as fine, I understand what they're saying. I don't have to agree. I don't have to disagree. I mean,
in all fairness, I can agree to that this is their point of view.
Yeah.
It's, to me, I don't see the problem with this. It's not problematic. It's not like, oh, how dare you say that you deny that I can have sex outside of marriage.
I also think it's naive and wishful thinking, because if the antics, and I'm not just talking about the latest thing about child abuse, but the antics over the centuries of the Catholic priesthood is anything to go by, including well-publicized antics of popes in the age of the Borgias, for example.
Oh, aye.
There is being at the head of the church was no barrier to indulging in sexual intercourse or immorality, and therefore it's a pious hope, but it's detached from any recognition of human nature
it's
reality.
The church has so many schisms, let's be honest.
No, but what I'm saying is it's a pious hope, but no one's ever going to live by that.
Okay. But Article 2, no real big issues here, other than that this is what they think. So I don't see how this is offensive.
No, everyone's entitled to an opinion.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like, okay, we feel that, blah, blah, blah. Am I allowed to do this? Yeah, but we feel that, okay. I'm so bad that Just and Toxic are AFK now.
Oh no, I've been back. I've been back for a while.
You shouldn't have gone in the first place. We were talking about dicks, which is a good subject, and you left.
Well, Well, after all that, intercourse conversation, I needed a smoke because I feel like I got intercourse conversation.
Oh, we didn't get you worked up, did we? I do apologize.
I got between the religious and I was done. So I figured, let me.
One of the advantages of age is feeling less tempted by such talk.
You speak for yourself, John. I don't suffer those consequences. I'm a very dirty old man.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that. I do not judge.
There are showers, they do work.
I tried those. We end up having sex in it.
Depends how you rub the soap.
Yes, indeed. No, but seriously, back to Article 2. Anything you want to add on Article 2? Basically, both John and I are like, yeah, so this is what they feel. We don't care.
Yeah, I'm sorry to say, but the articles are all pointed to the point of view of a very recluse person instead of God.
Yeah.
Well, fair enough, but is it offensive?
It's not offensive. It's a little stupid, but I can't say if it's offensive.
But because in the Netherlands, they actually called this, the whole Nashville statement offensive. Now, I know we're only at Article 2 yet, but let's continue. Toxic still isn't back, so let's go to Article 3 and hopefully she'll rejoin. Oh, damn it. Article 3. We affirm that God created Adam and Eve, the first human beings, in his own image, equal before God as persons, and distinct as male and female. Okay, this is based on we believe. Right? Everything science has shown us is that this is not correct, but they believe this. Is this offensive?
Yeah, not to me. Again, you gotta believe in God to make this offensive.
Well, they do believe in God, and they're not the ones who are offended. It's the other side that's claiming offense.
I don't know why it doesn't offend. If you don't believe in God, this is not offensive whatsoever.
Yeah. Okay.
As I was mentioning to Modwain before the chat, this thing about Adam and Eve is just bullshit. But yeah, if you want to believe that, believe it. But it's
I don't see a
scientifically invalid.
Yeah, have fun believing it. That we deny that the divinely ordained difference between male and female render them unequal in dignity and worth. I have a problem with in that sentence is divinely ordained.
Yeah, but what they're saying is people are of equal worth or equal dignity of worth, which is a commendable statement, and no social justice warrior should ever object to it.
I 100% agree. This is equality. This is basically what they're saying. We think men and women are equal, even though they are different. Welcome back, Toxic.
Yeah, equal but different. Perfectly valid.
Well, I don't know yet, Real Raven. To me, none of the articles were particularly offensive, but we're going to go through the articles one by one because.
But we're not social justice warriors.
That is true. That is true. Damn it! I should have gotten a social justice warrior in. Too bad.
I'll pretend I'm a social justice warrior. I got this, bros.
Okay. So we basically said the only thing we disagree with is the divinely ordained bit, the God bit. Everything else we agree with. Men and women, even though they are different, are equal.
Which one is that one? Which article?
The second part, we deny.
Article 3.
Oh, we're on Article 3. I would interject because obviously the female is superior because we give life.
Oh, okay.
You got a point of view of a woman. That's what you're gonna get.
No, that's fine.
That's
No. I'm playing a social justice warrior.
No, I understand. That's a good point.
No. To be a social justice warrior, you have to say two things. No, of course we're equal, but women are more equal than others.
Anyway, so Article 3, well done. Let's go to Article 4. We affirm that divinely ordained differences between male and female reflects God's original creation design and are meant for human good and human flourishing. Now, the thing is, nearly every species on this planet is male, female.
Yeah. Yeah, if you reworded that biologically, it would be perfectly correct.
Yeah, so it's again the divinely thing I disagree with. But other than that, I'm in agreement.
As a social justice warrior, this is implying that we can deny a transgender's humanity by bringing God into it.
Later articles. It does specifically cover this in later articles.
Yeah, but at the same time, you are, funny enough, pushing on one of the buttons that the social justice nerds in the Netherlands are upset about. What about people who identify as attack helicopters? They're not specified in this.
No. And what about men and women that can't have children? I mean, first off, we've got a male sperm crisis right now. Is that saying that the divine has suddenly decided that babies aren't necessary?
That's the thing.
Oh, wait. That's Elisha talking.
Yeah, but that's not what the article is talking about. They're not talking about procreation.
So ordained differences between male and female. No, because look, it says design and are meant for human good and human flourishing. Isn't human flourishing like procreation? Or am I reading that wrong?
No, that is how...
That could be one of the things, but there are other things that could make humans flourish.
No, but from the religious point of view, I do think that's what they mean.
I think that's what they mean as well, but it's not what they're saying. So they worded it very smartly, because they can basically say, where do we say procreation?
That's such a difference as a result of the fall or are a tragedy to be overcome.
Yeah, well, again, we can ignore that because that's religious BS. Sorry, Christian,
Yeah.
Abrahamic BS.
No, I believe all doctrine is true. So
do you?
That's what my religion teaches us.
Oh,
so with that, so you have to take it in the context of what they're trying to say here. So when they're talking, so this is a Christian, so they're talking about our fall from grace of God, and that wasn't there something in the Old Testament about, wasn't Eve punished for something maybe?
Yeah, well, this is all based on that. The fall is Eve supposedly being tempted by the serpent to bite the apple, become self-aware, and then tempt Adam, and then that was the fall.
Yep. And therefore, childbirth is now very painful and deadly.
And God condemned them to exile from the Garden of Eden and to die and to suffer.
Yeah.
All because a woman decided to play with the snake.
No. That is very definitely, but what's it called?
No.
What do you call it? The patriarchal propaganda. Blame the woman. No. That's definitely
not blaming the woman. It's blaming God, funny enough, because God put temptation in a paradise, a temptation he was 100% aware of that the humans will fall for.
Oh, of course, yeah. It was a Kafka trap for sure.
It's a trap.
Yeah,
it's a catch 2020 in the end.
Yeah, 22. That's 22. But that's okay.
Yeah, it was like, it's like the red button that says "Don't push me."
Yeah,
don't push the button. Don't push what?
So can we say, all right, we don't agree, but we're not offended?
Oh, I'm definitely not offended.
Well, actually, I mean, the statement itself that whatever differences there are was not the result of the fall is definitely coming from a good place.
Yeah, well, it doesn't come from the fall. It's true.
Yeah, no, it's because there are certain people who imply that somehow women are worse because of what happened in this mythical story, and they're saying no, we don't agree with that. We don't think that you can judge men or women in any way because of that story.
They're denying. So from what I've seen with these articles, they're not even following the Christian faith.
Mm.
No, because right there, they're denying, because it says we deny that such differences are as a result of the fall. But that is why there are differences, because of the fall. The bleeding, the menstrual cramps, that kind of thing is because of the fall. So
That's
they're
because
following their own religious dogma.
Well, like I was saying before, it's these articles are all not about religion or God. They're more like a person writing down what they stipulate people to understand, what is their God, and they want people to follow. It's Charles Manson all over again.
But is it offensive?
Charles Manson was offensive.
Yeah, I know he was.
I don't. Okay, so it is. Well, yes. Every religion is highly offensive to females. Every single one, even the Buddhists. It basically teaches that women are second-class citizens and second to a man. So it doesn't even like from a feminist standpoint, every religion is highly offensive towards women.
Except for Islam.
Islam is really offensive towards
No.
women,
According to certain.
No. Let's be. I'm talking realistically. Realistically, every single religion is extremely offensive toward women. It is a true statement.
I personally, I don't think that any religion is less offensive towards men. They're just offensive in a different way.
True that.
But that's just my opinion. And as an atheist, I don't care.
Wait. So how is that is interesting, John. How is say the Mormon religion offensive towards men?
I can't talk about something I know nothing about, but I don't.
Okay, so how is the New Testament offensive towards men?
Okay, what you actually get in a detailed looking at it is it talks of it's like people will say now, oh, it says a woman must walk behind a man, but then it also says a man must serve the woman. And people miss the first part, that a man must serve the woman. They only see the second part. And in fact, what it actually talks about is mutual obligation. Mm-hmm. And the man has a duty of servitude. And if a servant isn't lesser, I don't know what is.
I don't recall any dogma that actually states it like that.
In some of the letters.
I know. I know exactly what John's talking about. I seen it, I read it, and I actually witnessed it.
I would need to see the actual verse. Because every verse I honestly cannot think of a verse that says that. I can't. I'll pull out my Bible, but I can't think of the way that you're describing it. I don't.
Well, you see, the trouble is I'm describing this secondhand because I'm an atheist, but I pay attention to atheist channels who go into detail on what the actual scripture is, and they will read out the verse.
But the problem is, okay, so then now that's cherry picking then. Because if you're not, it's not just down to one tiny little verse. It's like the entire little section. It could be several verses that tie in together.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. And so what I watch goes through the whole lot, and it puts it in the context, as opposed to the cherry picking. Oh, and women are made to look bad because of only this little bit. But
well, the Bible contradicts itself anyway. So, and of course, so my reading of anything, I'm going to be more prone to pay attention to something that would be offensive to me as a woman, right? Because that's I wouldn't be looking for it, but that's I would be more apt to notice it. Just like natural. But I'm just saying is that, like, from a standpoint, this is no more offensive yet to me than any religious dogma. Yeah. But I feel that people have every right to believe. If this is their belief, they have the right to that. So then the feminists need to who's complaining about this, by the way?
Social justice warriors in the Netherlands.
Are they also complaining about other churches?
Oh, it's Christianity that needs to be kicked, obviously. I mean, as soon as you talk negative about any other religion, especially Islam, you're a phobe or an ist.
Okay. So basically we're talking about the people that have bought into the queer theory that was written by the feminists who were highly influenced by that French pedophile that was placed on such a high pedestal.
Yep. Okay, Article 5, because in all fairness, I think we've said enough about 4. Okay. We affirm that the differences between male and female reproductive structures are integral to God's design for self-conception as a male or female. Okay, again, God, I don't care. Evolution will do fine for me, but I am not offended by this. Anyone else?
Well, I think it's a reasonable statement from a biological point of view in the general case.
Okay.
In general, it's not, I wouldn't say integral, but that's maybe a smidgen too strong, but it's certainly very, very correlative.
Okay. We deny that physical anomalies or psychological conditions nullify the God-appointed link between biological sex and self-conception as male and female. Anyone offended yet?
You're starting to get a bit dodgier here.
Yeah, it's their writing. Their wording is going to do that to a lot of people.
I mean, they're starting to say now that there are no psychological or biological conditions that justify a man self-identifying as a woman or a woman self-identifying as a man. And we know that biologically speaking, that's not true.
Well, the thing is, we don't know that. We're being told that. The only true thing is that biologically speaking, you are either XX or XY, but there are biological...
But we also know about studies about excess testosterone in the womb or lack of testosterone in the womb. And so I'm not talking about from the trans activists, I'm talking about from the biologists.
There's one study, it's a chemical study, and it was linked, it was the transgender male to female. The doctors had put together a presentation that linked back to their mothers being given high doses of estrogen. But my question is during the pregnancy, but the question remains there then is why can't you reverse it by giving the men more testosterone when they're going through puberty to help override the extra estrogen from the womb?
Yeah. Yeah, and that is perfectly reasonable. That is perfectly reasonable.
That's not a natural thing. That all of the studies, it's not a natural phenomena. It is a chemical man-made phenomena. It means that it's not biological, it means it's chemical. That's like saying someone poisoned that's a biological thing. It's not. It's a chemical man-made byproduct of the fuckery that mankind is doing upon itself.
Okay.
The thing is that even for that study, there are still basically 2 outcomes. There is XX and XY. Now,
and a small proportion of intersex, and that does kind of get into the physical anomalies.
But that physical anomaly is a physical anomaly.
Yeah, and they're sterile. They're sterile.
So far, I've only heard of them being sterile. There's never been one that hasn't been.
Yeah, I'm merely stating that the terminology would be more offensive to people of a particular frame of mind than anything we've seen so far. Was the point I was trying to get at. I'm not offended, but then I don't.
Why do they care? They're talking about their God. What is it their business that, these people aren't making the laws, are they?
Because they're authoritarians.
Yeah.
The people being offended are authoritarians. It's not merely that they think something. You must think it too, and you must never say anything against it.
Yep.
That's horrible. All right, let's move forward because we're going to get something good.
As I said at the start, one of the people that signed it in the Netherlands is a politician. So obviously he is a lawmaker. Now it's one person, and his influence in the law is. I mean, I have as much influence in the next law as he does. Let's be honest. But no, that's not true. He has a little bit more, but not a lot more because he's just one guy. But yeah, the argument is, how can we allow someone in parliament that believes this? We have 2 Muslims in parliament, by the way.
Oh my God, it says here that they're trying to decide whether or not they're going to prosecute the 250 Christians that signed it.
Yep.
What the fuck?
Yep. And I'm
what?
What is so offensive about this? Because
wait a minute. Is that it? How can that be against? Do you not have freedom of religion? Like, I don't understand.
Well, we have freedom of religion, but we do not have freedom of speech.
So,
but it's not just that, but the authoritarian mindset doesn't care about other people's freedoms, just their own feelings.
So I don't.
You're allowed to whatever
the Bible.
You're not allowed to say it.
So. But that doesn't, how can you have freedom of religion, but not like this is their religion? I don't.
Yeah, you might have your own religion, but you're not still free enough to talk about it.
I'm going to try to answer you. Alicia, I'm going to try to answer you in a very fair and very harsh manner. You are an idiot trying to find logic in social justice. Does that explain it?
Oh my God. No. But it's still like, it makes my brain hurt. My brain hurts.
That's the whole. I agree with you. I so 100% agree with you. It's beyond me that they're actually talking about trying to get people prosecuted on a crime for agreeing with this.
They're calling it a manifesto. So
they couldn't call it anything worse, huh?
No. I mean, the manifesto, that's a political thing, right?
Let's see what the Dutch name is. No, that's not the one. That's not the one either. Oh, did I close it already? Oh, I closed it already. I had the Dutch one open as well, but I didn't care for it. So I know that you guys can't read it anyway. So I removed it again. But no, they called it Nashville.
Well, they call it a statement.
No, they call it a statement in America. The Dutch version.
It's not a manifesto, though. It's a statement.
I'm just reading the article. So I guess they said that this is what they're pissed about. It is a sinful to approve of homosexual impurity or transgenderism. Let's keep going. I want to see what pissed them off that they're going to try to charge them.
Wrong thing. You don't need to elaborate. It's wrong thing.
It is wrong thing.
But there's got to be something more. This is too vague. We're not there yet.
All right, next step.
Go.
Are you in the wrong direction? I was going in the right direction. Why are you doing that?
Article 6.
Article 6. We affirm that those born with a physical disorder of sex development are created in the image of God and have dignity and worth equal to all other image bearers. I assume that they mean other humans.
Yeah.
They are acknowledged by our Lord Jesus in his words about eunuchs who were born that way from their mother's womb. With all others, they are welcome as faithful followers of Jesus Christ and should embrace their biological sex insofar as it may be known. So, if you're not born man as a man or woman as a woman, yeah, shit happens, but you still are a valuable member. Am I mistranslating this?
Not to my point of view.
Yeah, that one's fine. I mean, they're obviously tiptoeing at this point, but there's got to be something more, because that basically says you can still, God still loves you even if you're a gay.
Yeah, just suck it up and don't have sex.
No, we deny. It's just,
It doesn't say that yet, but that's what it comes down to later.
we deny that ambiguous, fucking hell, I can't say that word.
Ambiguities.
Thank you. Related to a person's biological sex render one incapable of living a fruitful life in joyful obedience to Christ. So you may born gay, but don't act gay. That's basically what they're saying.
There you go, John. There's your article.
Sorry?
You were saying that, you know, it's okay that you're born gay, but you can't act gay. Just be
Yeah, no, I know. I've read it all, you see. I'm saying they say that later. That basically, the gist I read was everyone's equal, everyone's a child of God. Just if you are not married in a heterosexual relationship, there's no sex, there's no thinking about sex, there's no deviancy, there's nothing, just suck it up. Tough shit, you gay or transsexual. You're still loved by God. You just can't do anything about it.
Might be a good John. So a real Raven idea for a song. Suck it up, buttercup, baby, better let it go and live your life right. Something like that. Help me remind. But yeah, no, basically that's what they're saying. You can be gay, just don't act upon the gay.
Yep. Hide in the closet.
No, you can come out. Just don't fuck other
Well,
people.
That means stay in the closet.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, it means the whole part of coming out of the closet so you can be gay. You can't really be gay if you're not having sex.
Coming out of the closet is about accepting and proclaiming you're gay.
Yeah, so you can go out and date as a gay man instead of pretending you like women like all the other guys.
Those are all actions. You can date and not date women.
Look at this. There's a chick that filed a formal police complaint against this thing.
Of
Of course you did.
How
That's
is
female
that?
entitlement.
Oh my God. I can't, like, the world is pissing me off. Like, people aren't allowed to have their own fucking thoughts anymore.
Nope.
This is my country we're talking about. The stupidity is I mean, if stupidity were a sea, we would have been flooded.
You would have drowned already, huh?
But funny, when you said if stupidity was a sea, I was thinking about a completely different type of sea.
Anyway, step 7. Article 7. We affirm that self-conception as male or female should be defined by God's holy purpose in creation and redemption as revealed in Scripture. We deny that adopting a homosexual or transgender self-conception is consistent with God's holy purpose in creation and redemption. Anyone want to translate this before I do?
Well,
Sounds like, still the same thing. Be gay, but don't come out of the closet. Don't date. Don't screw. But
I think the problem is, sorry. I think the problem is they're saying that there is nothing in nature to say that homosexuality is a valid way of being. And I think there's enough biological evidence now to prove that homosexuality is rife in the animal kingdom. And therefore, if God didn't conceive of homosexuality, then God fucked up big time.
Yeah, but I'm not talking about that, because you're 100% correct. I'm not talking about the God thing, because I disagree with the God thing to begin with. But how is this problematic?
No, but that's my point, because they basically
No.
saying,
Look right what he's saying. No, he says we deny that adopting a homosexual or transgender self-conception is consistent with God's holy purpose in creation and redemption. So it's not saying that God did not create them, but it's God's purpose and plan for them to overcome that challenge that God had given them. So God made you a homosexual. That is your burden to bear. Therefore, you must fight through it so that you can be a part of God's plan.
No, I don't think they're saying that. I don't think they're saying that God made you homosexual. They're saying God didn't make you homosexual. So
no.
You
Holy
conceive
purpose
yourself
in
as
creation.
homosexual.
No, because God gives each and every person a cross to bear, And so they're not denying that homosexuality is a thing, because right there they say God's holy purpose.
Yeah, no, I agree with Alicia on this one. They're not denying homosexuality; they're denying the act.
No, you talk about self-conception. You didn't talk about the act. It says self-conception,
which is part of the act.
No,
I mean,
no.
Look at how they wrote that. Is consistent with God's holy purpose.
Yeah, but it says at the first part. Talk about self-conception. It's how
I'm
how
sorry,
you see yourself.
Oh, sorry. I need to say this. I do like you guys to go on, but I need a AFK for a real fast second.
Okay.
I'm sorry, so that you know I'm gone.
Okay.
Okay.
No, I will argue between each other.
No, because look at there. So homosexuality is natural, but transgender self-conception is not. Homosexual is something that God made you. Transgender is something you choose, and God is not a biological factor. There's not a real wearing a dress and putting on makeup does not it's clearly not something. They're separating the two, John. Homosexuality.
Well, you are. They are, because they're saying.
Yeah, okay. So I'm trying to see this through a Baptist point of view. So I'm channeling the Baptist religion right now. They view the Bible a little bit differently than, say, the Catholics or the Protestants or any of those. So through a Baptist could, this makes sense that homosexual is natural. The transgender is not, but either way, God's purpose is for the homosexual to overcome the cross that he's been given, whereas the transgender is just choosing.
I agree with what you've just said, 100%. I just didn't read what's in those articles in that way. Well,
and I understand.
No, I agree with what you're saying.
Yeah,
I agree with what you're saying. What you said is perfect sense. And if that's what I thought they'd written, then there would be no issue. But I don't think that's what they've written. I think they've written something else. But I just, on a totally separate point, can I just say, it's my age. Okay, when I was young, there were no transgenders. There were just transvestites. And what you described as putting on a dress and wearing makeup is a transvestite, not a transsexual. Which I find amusing.
Well, I mean, I don't want to talk too heavily on transgender, because then I'm going to get booted from YouTube altogether. You know, that's
no, you'll get Modwain booted. It's his stream.
On boot, yeah, I can talk about it on BitChute and Coco Scope, but we're already walking the line talking about these articles right now. The ever watching eye to bring about the queer agenda is watching us right now. And the reason I don't get in trouble for that is because there literally is a queer agenda. They wrote it out. It's queer theory. It's real.
And there's a feminist one, and they've written it out. It's all, yes, it's all in the books. We don't have to wonder what they're doing.
You know what? I'm starting to think that the only way, well, no, because I don't want to fight fire with fire. I honestly, I am offended by queer theory. I find it highly offensive.
Yeah.
But I'm not sitting there shutting them down.
Because they use our virtues against us.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So it's upsetting, because how do we fight against an enemy without becoming the enemy, but also win? How are we going to win
cleverer
this?
than them, but unfortunately they've got a head start of 50 years of academia.
They've got all the power right now.
Yeah.
Oh,
absolutely.
I got to take this call. It's very important. Sorry.
Okay. Shall we continue on to point 8?
Okay.
Absolutely.
We affirm that people who experience sexual attraction for the same sex may live a rich and fruitful life pleasing God through faith in Jesus Christ, as they, like all Christians, walk in purity of life. We deny sexual attraction for the same sex as part of the natural goodness of God's initial creation, or that it puts a person outside the hope of the gospel. Now, this is basically the affirming part is they don't care that you're gay. The denying part is, even though you're gay, you shouldn't act gay. It's your cross to bear. I think that's a very good point made by Alicia, by the way, because it is. It's the cross to bear. If you are gay, but you don't act gay, you can still be a good Christian.
Yeah, I know. As I say, I 100% agree with that. I just didn't think that the previous article said that.
But it says it in this one, then.
Yeah.
It clearly says it in this one.
Yeah.
I don't agree with it because I don't believe in God. But other than that, I
don't believe there's anything wrong with homosexuality. But then I've got a different morality to that.
True. But still, how is this problematic?
I'm not quite sure about that.
the quiet moments are so self-explanatory, to be honest. Yeah, no, it's problematic because
yeah, I think when they say we deny that sexual attraction for the same sex is part of the natural goodness, that is very triggering to a social justice warrior.
Yes, indeed.
Because you're saying deny natural, and they cannot conceive of how natural is not itself good or bad, but just a state. Most people seem to conflate nature with good. Oh, if it's natural, therefore you're saying it's good. No, because the Ebola virus is natural and definitely not a good thing.
Yeah, talk about absinthe. Oh, no, absinthe is man-made. What's the name of the plant? I forgot it.
Well, it's got many plants.
I know, but this one, belladonna, I think.
Yeah.
Very natural. Deadly.
As I say, many things.
Yeah, do that. Spiders bite. Some spiders, anyway. Snakes.
Well, and, many things. The point is that, nature isn't good. Nature is completely indifferent.
Yes, indeed it is. Okay, so no real reason why Article 8 should be offensive then?
Apart from that natural goodness, because we deny and natural goodness is triggering, especially to a social justice warrior.
Yeah, but I mean, it's, for example, John.
No, I'm not saying we would find it offensive.
No.
I'm trying to understand what they would find offensive.
I'm trying to make a point here. I'm going to talk to you as an example. But for example, John, you like crisps, right? You think is
okay.
The bee's knees. I'm not saying you do, but let's.
Yeah, I'll pretend I do. Yeah, okay.
Okay, so crisp is the bee's knees. And I'm like saying, no, crisps, man. I deny that crisps is even edible.
Okay.
What does that mean?
Well, the problem there is you're making a statement, whereas of fact, you're saying it's not edible. And I can eat one and say, there, it's edible. However, they're saying it's not part of natural goodness, which is a value judgment, not a statement of fact.
But if isn't what I'm saying equally?
No. A better example is, I really like football. Okay, You can say no. Football has no value whatsoever.
It's still a value judgment. Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Okay, fair enough. Let's take
you're denying my value judgment.
But that's it, though, isn't it? It's the denying of the value judgment of someone.
Yeah, but as I say, that statement, we deny blah 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 natural goodness, is, yeah, I can see why people might immediately see that. People with hair triggers like SJWs might immediately look at that, ignore everything else, and just go or whatever the word is.
Yeah. See if I can find a new good explanation of natural goodness. Oh, fucking hell.
No, again, we're asking, what did they find offensive? Not what is offensive. What did they find offensive?
No. I wanted to go not so much what they find offensive, but also what is offensive.
Nothing's offensive. I mean, that's easy.
So that's the thing, though. I mean, they find all of this offensive, but you have to go out of your way to find this offensive.
You have just defined the social justice warrior mindset.
That point. So, Article 9, or did you have something to add, Just?
Oh, I'm pretty good. Let's keep going here. I'm having too much fun reading all this crap.
Affirm that sin distorts sexual desire by directing them away from the marriage covenant and towards sexual immorality. A distortion that includes both heterosexual and homosexual immorality. Okay, I'm going to stop with this one first. Anyone?
Well, I deny the whole premise of sin. Therefore, the whole lot is gibberish to me.
Okay, I'm agreeing with you on the sin part, but it isn't gibberish. That's the funny thing. Because
I mean it's gibberish because everything in the sentence derives its meaning from the concept of sin. So if you deny the concept of sin, you lose that intrinsic meaning of the sentence.
Yeah, okay, but I am going to explain why I think I agree with what you say and I disagree with what you say at the same time. Now that sounds very...
No, I'm all ears.
The thing is, and I'm not even joking, they have proven that having lots of sexual contacts outside of a stable relation, not wedlock, not marriage, but a stable relation, kind of destroys the ability for humans to bond with one another. This is proven. The more sexual contacts you have, this is true for women, this is true for men. Though it's more true for women than it is for men, but it's true for both. The more sexual contacts you have outside of a relation, a steady relation, the less you are able to bond within a relation.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of funny. Well,
no, I must admit I've heard the same, yeah.
So on this, even if I say, okay, sin is bullshit. I don't believe in sin, but at the same time, they actually have a point.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, I wasn't denying the point. I was just saying that the sentence as a whole is meaningless because the foundational clause is invalid to me.
I mean, what's the point of having a relationship if you're not going to, have an end relationship? You need to go outside and you got issues at home. It's, to my point of view, I can't sin, so I can't really answer that part of the sin. It's impossible for me to sin.
Why is it impossible?
Because I'm agnostic. You got to be religious first in the first place to understand that sin is a wrong thing.
Yeah,
but it's not the sin thing that I'm falling for, because I agree with you guys. Sin, bullshit. But sociologically, it has been proven and denied by certain sociological movements. But it has been proven that the ability for humans to bond becomes weaker the more sexual contacts they have.
You are correct.
So there is that.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I wasn't disagreeing with a general condemnation of excess promiscuity.
Mm-hmm.
But that isn't what they're saying. What they're saying is that promiscuity comes from sin.
Yeah. And on that, we disagree.
And on that, we disagree. So if it was, again, expressing biologically, that excess promiscuity is basically a bad thing, destabilizing and not healthy, then yeah.
Okay, let's go on to that deny part then. We deny that an enduring pattern of desire for sexual immorality justifies sexually immoral behavior.
Yeah, that's fine.
I agree with that. Yes, I agree with that. Anyone offended yet?
No, I mean, actually, that's a really good statement, because it says just because you want to do something is no justification that you should do it. And I 100% agree with that in anything, any sphere of action.
There have been moments that I wanted to bash someone's face in. I know I shouldn't, and I didn't, but I urge.
Yeah.
Don't always give in to your urges.
Yeah, absolutely.
Point 10. We're getting near the end, so they better be performing something really bad.
I'm still waiting for the really bad. It's already stupid.
You're on it. You're on it.
This is
one of this one.
Okay. We affirm that it is sinful to approve of homosexual immorality or transgenderism, and that such approval constitutes an essential departure from Christian faithfulness and witness. And witness?
Yeah. But you see, the thing is, you can look at that two ways, right? As a statement of Christian faith, I have zero objection to it.
Yeah.
Because they're saying, these are our beliefs, and if you are comfortable with homosexuality or transgenderism, you can't be a good Christian. And I'm not saying that's right. I'm not saying that's wrong. It's not my beliefs. But I have no problem with them saying it.
Yeah, me neither. So we deny that approval of homosexual immorality or transgenderism is a matter of moral indifference about which otherwise faithful Christians should agree to disagree. Now, in all fairness, I still don't see an issue here.
Well, that's consistent with the first part.
Yeah.
It's exactly the first part. They just worded it different.
Yeah.
Again, nothing offensive, just stupid.
Yeah, it's their point of view. They're entitled.
So I disagree, but I'm not offended that they feel it.
Yeah, well, that's the point. We disagree, but nothing offensive.
They're not asking to throw the homosexuals or transgenders off a rooftop, for example, like a certain other religion.
Well, but they're not advocating for that.
That's what I'm saying. They're just saying we don't think you should accept it, but they're not saying go away and kill them.
So, not yet.
So I don't understand. Still, to me, not offensive. Agreed?
Yeah,
agreed.
It's
idiotic.
Condemning. It's condemning other people, but they're doing so from their point of view. That's like saying, I think you're an idiot. Yeah, that's okay, mate, but you're not a doctor, so I don't have to care.
But I can see why, in that first part, that saying it's sinful to approve would be very, very triggering to an SJW, because they are all about approval as opposed to action.
I mean, I can imagine how they got a little offended with that part, but it's really not offensive unless you want it to be.
Yeah.
Too bad that our devil's advocate is on the phone.
Yeah.
But as I say, there's two questions. Is it offensive, and why are they offended? And on the why are they offended, to me, it's crystal clear. That language is...
we're missing all our devil advocates today.
But that language is, yes, that language would be offensive to an SJW. There isn't any question.
But are they saying anything that's over the top?
Oh, no. But as I say, they're two separate questions. I don't see it as offensive, but I 100% understand why they do.
Okay. Point 11. Point 11. Article 11 even. We affirm our duty to speak the truth in love at all times, including when we speak to or about one another as male or female. I don't get this point.
No, it's commendable. It's just saying we should be honest. And yes, good for them.
Okay. We deny any obligation to speak in such a way that dishonors God's design in his image bearers as male and female. I disagree on the God bit, but I agree with compelled speech. You should never be in favor of compelled speech. This is kind of the reason why Jordan Peterson spoke out against Bill C-16 in Canada, I think it was.
And again, they're merely stating their feeling that they are obliged to speak in a way consistent with their beliefs. And again, that's commendable. You don't have to agree with their beliefs, but you can respect somebody who is consistent in their beliefs.
Yeah. So I don't care. I mean, yeah, sure, that's your right. Tell me why this is an issue for me again. This I don't see how this is offensive.
Neither do I, but somebody does, and I can't figure out why.
Well, as I say, we pointed two clauses that would be triggering so far.
Oh, true. I mean, the second part is saying no obligation. I mean, and instead of saying, "Oh, you should say you love someone," they're saying you should have to.
Yeah,
that's the thing, though. I mean, they do kind of like to push compelled speech, but why am I compelled to speak in a certain way?
Well, that's why they deny it. Which, again, it sounds idiotic, but not offensive.
Article 12. We affirm that the grace of God in Christ gives both merciful pardon and transforming powers, and that this pardon and power enable a follower of Jesus to put to death sinful desires and to walk in a manner of worthy of love. I'm sorry, I can't stop chuckling. I'm like, merciful pardon and transforming powers. So I was just envisioning Optimus Prime transforming in a car.
Well, but this is maximum woo. This point is maximum woo.
Maximum woo. But okay, you affirm that the grace of God, Christ, gives both merciful pardon and transforming powers. So, thank you, but I don't care.
The point is that 2,000 years of history of the actual behavior of actual Christians would refute that particular point.
Oh, I can see the fun that the how do you call them, the Spanish Inquisition would have with the people signing the Nashville Statement. They would be killed. But that's a different story altogether. I mean, I think it's a different story altogether.
Well, what they're saying is that if you're a good Christian, you are never tempted to act on your feelings. And well, we just know that's not true. So it's like, I'm sorry, but I think that's BS.
Well, I mean, you could try to not act on your impulses.
But they're saying that it as a fact, not as a objective.
Okay, we deny that the grace of God in Christ is sufficient to forgive all sexual sins and to give power for holiness to every believer who feels drawn into sexual sin. Now, that's a belief.
It's just a reaffirmation of the first part again.
Yeah, I don't believe that, but hey, you know what? If you want to believe that.
But as I say, it's the same objection. We have 2,000 years of history to show that Christians are more than capable of giving in to temptation and often commit sins. And therefore, their view that the grace of Christ is sufficient to prevent that is BS, because that's just no reflection on reality.
Well, that would never work. In reality, we do not sin. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Well,
that's like just saying the cow doesn't give milk.
Again, this is probably. I mean, if you're not a non-believer, this is something you would like. Oh, like, yeah, sure, mate, whatever. But is this offensive?
No, it's deluded. But it's not offensive.
That's the word, delusional. But again, I'm not religious, so I'm not offended by it whatsoever. It still sounds stupid as just about all the other ones. I'm waiting for the offensive part.
Don't hold your breath.
Yeah, I think SJW has too much freaking things in our hands and none of them good.
Well, they are professional offense takers, and the word taker is the critical point there.
Yeah, my point in all this is, when was the last time they got laid?
To
be that offended by everything, you have to have been on abstinence forever.
Maybe they're Christians too. Who knows? But they don't want to be.
Well, funnily, you know those Catholic monks who used to self-flagellate?
I don't think SJW does that either.
No. But that's what they remind me of.
Okay.
Anyway, Article 13. We're getting close to the end now. Why did it go to 11? Well, this is weird. This is the second time it's doing that. Article 13. We affirm that the grace of God in Christ enables sinners to forsake transgender self-conception and by divine forbearance to accept the God-ordained link between one's biological sex and one's self-conception as male or female.
Yeah, that is 100% in contradiction to everything SJWs believe.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's like, okay, you affirm that. Well, whoop-de-bloody-do. Who cares?
No. As I say, to an SJW, it's what you think and what you say you think are almost the most important things. And this is denying their very concept of how we should be in relation to transgender people. Transgender is like listen believe for transgender. It's like someone said it's transgender, then that's right, that's correct. You must be supportive. And this is saying, no, if you feel transgender, you need to work on yourself, pray the gay away, as Real Raven said, and, you know, just accept your biological reality and
now, I can understand how that can be offensive to some people. Not to me, but, you know.
Yeah, but okay, fair enough. This could be considered offensive, but it's just like, oh, where is it? I need to find that image now. Let's see if I can find it. I hope I can find it. If I can, it will make.
Allie, come back, save us. Miss Toxic.
There it is. This is the one that I was looking for.
All right, that's what you got for us.
Here we go. Here we go. 1 second. Hoppa. This is what I got for you. That's basically it, isn't it?
Yeah. But opinions are offensive to SJWs. This is the point.
But their opinions are okay. But
no,
you can't.
But that's what Alicia was saying. That's exactly what Alicia was saying. She's offended by some of their opinions. But the point is that it only ever goes one way.
True that. I like this movie, by the way. I don't know if you guys seen it. It's
ironically, I have it. I haven't watched it.
Oh, you should. The dude, it's so fucking believable.
I think I seen parts of it, but I got bored out of my mind, so I turned it off.
Oh, it's such a good movie. It's such a good movie. Yeah, I'm sorry. To me, it's. They actually started a church because of it.
Yeah,
anyway.
now I remember the details of it. That's the one with the drunk or the stoner with the damn rug or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah. The stoner. Definitely.
Yeah, not my kind of thing.
It's so fun. Listen, I'm not in favor of people being stoned, but this movie was fucking brilliant. Anyway, Article 14 and the last one. We affirm that Christ Jesus has come into the world to save sinners, and that through Christ's death and resurrection, forgiveness of sin and eternal life are available to every person who repents of sin and trusts in Christ alone as Savior, Lord, and Supreme Treasure.
Supreme Treasure.
I like that one too.
I haven't heard that before.
I got money.
We got to say something else. What can we say? Supreme Treasure. Nah.
Supreme Treasure sounds great. Tell them to send me some of that money.
You know what the pirate word for treasure is?
No.
Booty.
Yep. All right. I'll convert. Can I get some of that?
Apparently, Jesus Christ is supreme booty.
Oh, booty. Sorry. Yeah.
I'm sorry. We deny that the Lord's arm is too short to save, or that any sinner is beyond his reach.
That just contradicts what you just said before.
Well, no, the last two are just yada yada Christian bullshit.
I think they ran out of motive to talk and just like, yeah, let's make this different wording. Let's make this one against that one, and we'll be
because you've got to have affirm and deny on every point. And when they only have one thing to say, they say it twice.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's kind of funny though. Have you ever heard the joke of the fantasy football team that never lost a match?
Well, it's a fantasy football team. You don't play matches.
You can, you can still play matches with fantasy football teams. Yeah.
Well, that's not how they normally work.
I know, but you can. You
Okay.
know that fantasy football team never lost a match.
Okay.
Jesus was goalkeeper, and Jesus saves.
Oh.
Yeah.
Sorry. Which makes sense because his arms are long enough.
No. God the Father's arms are long enough.
No.
No,
it's
because they differentiate between
short arms you can't reach, so you can't be saved.
They differentiate. When they mean Christ the Son, they say Christ. And when they mean God the Father, they say Lord.
But this is another thing I find funny, and this is something a lot of people don't take into account when they talk about any religion.
Mm-hmm.
The Lord and God are titles.
Yeah.
Names, they're not descriptive, they're titles.
Yeah.
So what God are we talking about? What Lord are we talking about?
Yeah, I mean, it's like when people say God and they capitalize it. Well, God's just, as you say, it's a title.
Which God are we talking about? Yeah.
But just remember, you're not allowed to say his name or else you get stoned. I saw it in that documentary, The Life of Brian.
By the way, brilliant movie. Documentary, not so much, but brilliant movie. They actually, in The Life of Brian, they already talked about transgenderism and how stupid it was. Can you imagine that?
Yeah, I don't know. I think Stan had a point.
You can't be a woman. Yeah, but he can have the right to be a woman.
Yes.
Okay, you have the right to be a woman, which you can't be. So now what?
Call me Loretta.
So, okay, we had 14 articles of the Nashville Statement. As far as I know, there are only 14, so I'm going to click to see if there's another one.
No,
just goes all the way around.
Yeah, we've seen them all.
So they're a little stupid. They're worded, but they're not offensive. Not to my point of view.
But we're not talking about our point of view. We're talking about the SJ.
No, we're talking about people who have too much time in their hands and very little sensibility for not.
What you're talking about is two ideologies, and this is a statement of war by one ideology against a new ideology, because it is clearly laying down a marker which says, in mostly reasonable language, what you're doing is BS and we're going to resist it.
Okay, I'm going to show this article to the good people on the stream. Evangelical Focus. So it's not an a website I usually go to. The Dutch
Really?
Investigates if national statement translation breaks the law, because they translated the Nashville Statement into Dutch. And now they're going to find out if that's breaking the law. Well, you could say...
See, I said this to you, didn't I, earlier about translation, because translating the Bible into your own language was once a...
oh, yeah, it was a crime. You're not allowed to...
No, it was a capital crime.
Yeah.
It was a capital crime. The translator of the Bible into English under Henry VIII was burnt alive as a heretic for the act of translating the Bible.
You know, how are you supposed to spread a word of something if not everybody reads Aramaic?
No. Latin.
Latin. Yeah,
At
Latin.
that time, the official Bible was in Latin. And here's the best bit. None of the Bible was written in Latin.
Yep.
What was it written? Wait. So what was it written in?
Hebrew and Greek.
Aramaic, not Greek. Sorry.
No, it was Greek. The New Testament was written in Greek, and the Old Testament was Hebrew.
So what are the scrolls written in? The Dead Sea Scrolls. What language is that? Do we know?
So as we find the Dead Sea Library, we'll know. But you know,
No,
the Dead Sea
Dead
Scrolls
Sea
are
Scrolls.
not. They are, what's the word? They are contemporary with the post biblical period. I think they're in the 1st century AD, but they're not actually biblical texts.
No, there are some that are biblical texts, and there's some from the Old Testament excerpts, like the Book of Esther. Let's see, it says they're in Hebrew, and some are in Aramaic.
Yeah, because they were the documents of a religious community.
Yeah, they include biblical texts, non-biblical literary work, documents, deeds, letters.
yeah, written by historians that spoke a couple languages. So.
Well, it's saying here that the Jewish Palestinian Aramaic was in use from 200 BCE to 200 CE.
Yeah, it was a regional lingua franca.
And when was the Bible? The Bible was written in what year?
Well, it wasn't.
No, I said it was.
No. The first sections that were written down were supposedly written during the Babylonian exile. So that was about between 600 and 500 BC, because it was a oral tradition, and at some point when they were away, exiled from their homeland, they started to write it down. So obviously there are then stories in the Bible towards the end of the Old Testament which are newer than that, and so it must have been written after that. But that's when they reckon the first written versions of the Old Testament were.
Okay, yeah. So it's saying
when they were in Mesopotamia.
Arabic, Latin, Greek, Christian, Palestinian, Aramaic.
Well, the Greek thing was
when Aramaic.
When Christianity happened, first they were in the Eastern Mediterranean, and the language of the literate classes was Greek. So the Romans wrote Greek, the Greeks wrote Greek, the Egyptians wrote Greek, Egyptian having been Greek since Alexander, so that's like 200 BC. So the linguistic language, the written language of the Eastern Mediterranean was Greek. So all the New Testament was written in Greek.
So, okay. I was just curious.
We all are. That's why we disagree and agree.
Well, what I don't understand. So I'm still trying to understand how you can have both freedom of religion and
not have freedom of speech.
Prosecuted. That doesn't make sense to me.
Because they don't have freedom of speech.
We don't
have. Yeah,
but
that doesn't, because it's their religion. They're just stating what their religion is. That doesn't. So I don't understand it. That would mean that every sermon that is hate speech.
Because it's blasphemy. They are prosecuting them under blasphemy against the new religion of social justice. And if you think that's a bit of a joke, that is what they're doing.
Yeah, and it only goes against Christianity because other religions are still fine to do this. But Christianity is not.
Yeah.
Well, that's because the queer theory states that Christianity is the reason for patriarchy, which is the reason for all the problems on earth.
Yeah, well, they're ignorant, obviously.
Well, they are quite much. But yeah, that's the thing.
This is just that it hurts my brain. Does it hurt their brains at all, or do they have a brain? Like, I'm being serious. Like, do they?
No, they don't. Ideology is used as a replacement for thought.
Yeah, I had another person say to me, it was a relative again, say, "Oh, I thought you were too smart to vote for Trump," and I'm like, "We've already gone over this. We've already talked about why. What we already discussed why I voted for Trump. Why are you bringing it up now?"
Because they have what's the word? Cognitive dissonance. They can't process the fact that you voted for Trump with their belief system, and so they cannot resolve it. And you see this, so that they will perpetually cycle because they can't, in their brain, connect your answer with their question.
Because they just can't understand it. Yeah. So they'll keep questioning until they can understand it, which will be never.
Yeah.
Which is somewhat problematic, to be honest, because that means that today the problem is 2 + 2 = 4. It should be 2 + 2 = 5. And tomorrow, 2 + 2 = 5 will also be a problem because it should be 2 + 2 = 6. And it's quite easy to condemn people by then, because at one point or other, people agreed with 2 + 2 = 4, and therefore they were wrong, even though they were agreeing with you at the time. That's the thing with constantly putting forward the goal of being politically correct.
You do know you've just described the underlying plot line of 1984.
I know, but
so how do we stop that? This is my question. How do we stop this? Because it's going to cause all of societies to collapse. I mean, I don't know how to. Are we making any headway? It doesn't seem like it.
We're not really, no. But there's one society that doesn't seem to collapse under this. Unfortunately, it's the one that we kind of do see collapse, because it's a theocracy society based on Islam that's doing perfectly fine with all this madness, because they don't go along with this madness. But nearly all other societies in the world are falling for this stupidity that comes from neo-Marxism and postmodernism.
Yeah, but you've just pointed out the fundamental contradiction that in order to be cohesive, we can't be free.
There has to be a solution. We just haven't found it yet, and I'm gonna find that solution. I'm gonna keep. There has to be. There is a tipping point. We just have to bring it back our way.
There is.
You know what I mean?
We have to bring it back our way, but there was a solution. In all fairness, if we look in America, just after Jim Crow, just before the Second World War, that's basically the best period of America, where black people were allowed to be free and would still hold the power they gained out of their freedom after slavery. So they still had the positive influence of the release of slavery. They still had the positive influence, which they even managed to create under Jim Crow, but they weren't corrupted by socialism yet. Because if we look at it, socialism has corrupted every country.
Well, I think then what we're looking at is we need somewhere in Europe to fall to Islam, and then it's looking like we're going to have 2 states in the States over here in the States fall under socialism. New York just announced that they were going to do for universal health care. That'll bankrupt the shit out of them. And California's pushing it well. So maybe if we just lost our 2 biggest, they're the 2 biggest payers in taxes. So if we lose them, it might wake people up.
I love, for example, how people in California are still like, yeah, but we're the 7th biggest economy in the world. Look at how good we are doing. Yeah, but 2 years ago you were the 5th biggest.
I was going to say that's a big fall.
That's a big fall.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, is that we're going to have to see something like that, aren't we?
Well, can I say that for Alicia's wish for a state to fall under Islam, we have a number of candidates. Sadly, I fear I'm living in one of them. And then there's the French. The Germans.
Actually, Germany are more or less waking up. I mean, if we look at Pegida, which is an organization that started in 2014, if we look at the AfD, the fact that an AfD politician got attacked and nearly killed will have repercussions. Now, I'm not saying this was done by Muslims. I don't think it was done by Muslims. I think it was done by Antifa. And again, I like to point out that at the First World War start, we saw the same thing. We saw Bolsheviks attacking everyone they disagreed with, until a certain point in time when the other side and the centrists had enough of the Bolsheviks and they started killing them back. Now, I'm not in favor of that. I'm not hoping for it to return. But this is what happened in Italy. This is the start of fascism. This is the argument Mussolini used to kill his political adversaries on the left. Basically saying, well, they did it when they were in power. Now we are in power. If it was wrong for them to do it, it would be wrong for me to do it. But no one said it was wrong for them to do it. So don't come and condemn me for it. And I disagree with him, but I can understand this point.
Yeah, there is. I think we are naturally going to have a backlash because we're seeing more and more powerful rich men in America that are downsizing their to their businesses to be like an LLC, to be a little bit different, so that they don't have to hire women anymore because they're too afraid of women.
Yeah,
which I don't blame them. I mean, the feminists are ruining it for everybody, really.
Yeah.
they are.
Their goal is to destroy society, and they're bloody well determined to do it.
Yeah.
Trust me, this is the whole you have to believe 2 = 5 story. This is what we're going into. You have to believe that transgender people are really different because they say so. There is no other reason than they say so. And if you do not believe that, you're wrong. And there will be a moment in time where they will say that even doubting that would be wrong.
Yet at the same time, everyone's identical. It's all a social construction.
So, yeah, therefore it can't be right. But that's okay as long as you believe what we say.
Yeah, I don't believe they believe what they say.
No, they want you to make sure that you believe it.
But they tell you contradictory things on purpose.
Yes. Welcome to 1984.
Again, as long as you agree, you're all set, right?
Yeah.
We gotta fight. Well, no, because look, Ellen DeGeneres was just attacked because she had that one dude on her show and apologized for saying one thing. They just attack each other. Maybe we should speed it up. I don't know.
Well, no, the thing is to, like, all these people like Ellen DeGeneres, she gets attacked after apologizing. Never apologize.
Yep.
Period.
Yeah, you shouldn't there's no need to, because the outrage mob will find somebody else to attack. I don't even engage them anymore. I'm afraid to engage them, because if I even say one thing, they get all of my channels shut down. But if you ignore them, they seem to go away.
Exactly. And that's the best thing. I keep saying this, don't feed the trolls. And they are trolls.
The problem is that eventually, even if you do agree, they will attack you for something that they will feel is wrong thing on your end.
They always need to find someone to attack. That's the problem.
They're bullies. Bullies don't like people who stand up to them. Stand up to them when they attack. Don't go after, but, like, you know, when they attack, just say, no, I didn't do anything wrong. Goodbye.
Yep.
That's why Trump succeeds.
Because he doesn't give a crap.
He won't apologize, he says. Well, I believe in what I'm doing, and it doesn't matter if it's right or wrong.
This is the same for Salvatini, I think, the Italian one, or Bolsonaro, the one in
Brazil. Yeah,
Brazil.
Yeah, I'm keeping track of him.
Funny enough, what Bolsonaro is doing is somewhat acquainted with fascism as well. He has declared that he will fire left-wing extremists within the Senate and within the judicial system.
Is that fascism or is that sanity?
Well, you could say it's both, I agree, but the only reason he's able to do it is because the left-wings have done it to the right-wingers for as long as they can remember. And he can now say, well, you did it to us.
Legitimate as far as I'm concerned.
He's on the point of we're going to flip the coin now and see what we get.
Yeah. I hope.
It's how you teach people a lesson as well. Because if the left wing were doing it, then if you don't, it's like, no, you see how you like it. Okay, you got the point. You don't do it to anybody.
Now, John, the Bolsonaro thing, I can speak for that. The reason why they kept doing it for so many years is all because about money. Now, nobody really gave the crap because they knew it was about money. They knew where the money was going.
Mm-hmm.
What Bolsonaro's about to do, it's a whole new perspective. They're claiming it's not about the money. It so far hasn't been about the money. The problem is, what is it all about? That becomes a contradiction and a problem at the same time.
Yeah. So, yeah, basically welcome in their own worst nightmare created by themselves.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, to be fair, Bolsonaro's competition, Haddad, was a much worse option.
Oh, aye.
It would be like choosing between
Trump and Hillary.
No, Hillary was just stupid. She could have won the election if she didn't promise to cut the freaking senior pension and closing down military bases. She would have won the election.
Really?
Yeah. She was winning. She was doing just fine against Trump until she said that the retirees, they're not going to have any more their retired pension. I'm going to close it down and take that money away. And we're going to close at least 35% of the bases around the world. That's when she lost the election.
I'm of the mind that she didn't lose, that he won. I watched and well, I know, but I'm saying is that if it's really, I guess, by watching everything, by seeing everything, she was going to lose. She only won the big states because they're brainwashed and they always vote for Democrats.
True. But here's a tipping point. The moment that made Hillary completely lose is when she was going to designate 4 main cities in each state, United States, as security asylums for illegal immigrants. That's where the people got pissed off.
Well, no, I don't think she was going to win anyway because of what Obama did to the states that had to be flipped.
No, she wasn't going to win or lose because of that. But
well, we'll just have to not agree on it. But I guess it's just all a perspective of what you're seeing on the battlefront.
As much as I don't like Trump.
No. I'm just saying the fact is that he won Utah, which was amazing because nobody wins Utah that talks shit about Mormons. Nobody. And Trump talks shit about Mormons, but it was the first time ever that the Mormons overrode that because they understood what was at stake and chose Trump. Yes. So I'm telling you, I really believe Trump won. He didn't win the popular vote, but how do you win a popular vote when all the SJWs are all congregated in the same place?
Less than 400 square miles of America.
Yeah.
In a country of 4 million square miles. I think it's 4 million square miles.
Yeah, and I've talked to many, and I hate to use the term minority because I absolutely loathe that term, but I talked to many minority people that were lifelong Democrats that switched, and they didn't switch because of Hillary. They switched because they believed in Trump.
Well, I'm still amazed that Hillary got as many votes as she did. because they were complaining about how Trump would start a world war and how Trump would do this and how Trump would do that, when we have tapes of Hillary actually saying that in the Syrian conflict between America and Russia, nuclear weapons were an option. I'm like, I'm not quite sure what Trump can do now that is worse than that.
Yeah, he's quite good at it. Trust me.
Well, it's just, yeah, Hillary, obviously, she's an awful woman. When you talk to the people that lost their jobs because of Obama, I think that really, everybody's just sick and tired. And I think, and maybe Trump is a sign that we're winning against the SJWs, because we're just so sick and tired. Like, look what Mitt Romney has done to Utah. And I did everything in my power to avoid Mitt Romney being one. I even registered as a damn Republican. I joined their national committee. But luckily, I got this great, I got a calendar that has Trump and Ivanka in it. It's for Melania and stuff.
I think you should screen share.
I
want to see the calendar.
It's so great. I'll show you after the stream. Because I don't want to show my face right now. I've been crying. And I just I don't look good. So, but yeah, no, I mean, sorry.
Yes, you always look good.
No, you guys are silly. I appreciate that. All right, I guess we've rambled on. Are we ending this stream?
Yeah, we are ending the stream actually, because it's quite after the normal time.
Yeah.
So I would like to say thank you to everyone that did join up. There aren't a lot of people looking at it, as it seems. There's only 6, and I'm assuming 3 or 4 of them are us. So thank you, Real Raven, and thank you, High Desert Pioneer, for showing up. I'm not
Ludicrous Leprechaun.
Sorry. Either Ludicrous, I forgot about you. You did show up, and Nick did show up for a moment in time as well.
I don't think Ludicrous would be still up. I know his work situation has changed, so he actually has to go to bed now.
Well,
yeah, no, it's good. It was nice to see people drop by.
It was
just one, Modwain, if you don't mind me interrupt 1 second. The comment that I made about John Piper, the one of the signatures, I checked him up. He's not the same John Piper that I knew. So,
oh right, okay.
That's kind of good news for me.
High class enemy does.
Thank you for making the last half hour. I'm curious what you think of the whole thing. So by all means, criticism, as always, is more than welcome. Anyone else wants to have some famous parting words?
I do. No? Go check out my video I posted yesterday.
It's a sweet. I posted it. I posted it. I boosted it on my. It's a really good one. People really should
see it.
It's the one about the pastor.
Pastor Lee.
Yeah, with the child Dropbox. I know I am not religious, but when I see people doing that, even if they are doing so because they feel religiously obliged to do so, I still respect the fact that they are doing stuff like this. And I can only appreciate people like that.
I think there's a difference, though, between a statement of what you believe, which I'm 100% for, and a statement of, therefore, you have got to do something. And on this, the Christian side is, this is what we believe, fine, that's their right. And the SJWs are, how dare you, let's send you to prison, which I'm 100% against.
Yeah, well, I have to admit, the video Alicia made, I thought it was very beautiful.
I'll definitely have to check that out.
Yeah, I wanted to start I needed to do something to normalize my brain. I was telling Real Raven about it yesterday because he helped me do another video thing, a phone conversation, so we could hear what was going on. And it was a particularly bad day yesterday, so I made that to make myself feel better. So hello, my beautiful.
I'm going to pause it. People, look at the screen. You can see the address of her video, so you can type it out. I will also link it in the chat because it's my chat. and YouTube might not like me doing it, but fuck them.
Why should they care? None of their business.
People, check it out.
I don't think I've seen the notification for that, Alicia.
I posted it on YouTube, so it's on my YouTube Toxic Threads on BitChute. I had someone tell me they didn't get a thing for it too. There's
It's not showing in my feed. That's what I'm saying. It's like
I think the problem is that there's undertones of I don't know. Maybe the SJWs are offended by it. If you watch it, you'll catch maybe undertones.
I found it. Sorry.
Yeah.
It was
Okay.
in my black
We'll
spot.
be watching it later.
I posted it 23
right.
hours ago.
Yeah. Okay.
TV box, family
Yeah, lock-
life, pasta lead.
My phone.
Cocoscope one because hey, you know what? I'm pushing Cocoscope as well. I have a Cocoscope channel, so people could join me there if they want to. I still post everything on Cocoscope and on YouTube. I don't have any exclusive work for.
I think it's a difficult one. I'll tell you why. So, like Toxic Threads wants to grow her channel, but to grow a channel, people have got to watch her on YouTube. I think it's a difficult one. I'll tell you why.
I disagree. Someone was broadcasting there.
No, that was me on a time lag.
Okay, I kind of disagree because you want to grow your channel, but both of the channels are growable.
No, I know. But what I'm saying is Alicia got kicked off of YouTube as Alicia.
Yeah.
And then she's got a Toxic Threads channel, but to grow that channel, it requires traffic on YouTube for the algorithms. And so I'm conflicted, is what I'm trying to say. I'm conflicted because do I help her grow on Cocoscope, but then that risks neglecting her on the bigger platform?
Oh, don't worry about that because I have a plan. Because you're absolutely right, John. I would recommend this video. Watch it on YouTube for the conversation. But I do have a plan to grow Cocoscope versus YouTube. I'm gonna put together different playlists. I think that's the only way to do it. I'm gonna have my controversial ones on Cocoscope, and then I can have shorter versions on YouTube. But I'm really gonna diversify. I think that's the best way to do it. Because what I'm working on right now, I found this book that I've been looking for forever. And you can't find it because it's been taken down everywhere, rightfully so. Right? How it teaches pedophiles how to get their victims. But I actually found a presentation on the book by an FBI agent. And so I'm going to put that together. It'll be fantastic because a lot of the things that I've been telling parents and the SJWs that are promoting pedophilia is in the presentation. And I feel that if we can just crack enough holes in the SJWs, we might be able to pull back and get back our countries to being at least somewhere normal where we can start being progressive again without being regressive.
Yeah. But you see, this is what I said to Modwain before the stream started. Yeah. In a way, I applaud this Christian initiative because even if I don't agree with it, they are the people who can resist the SJWs.
Yeah.
And provide a counterweight.
Let's go off there so I can show you my cool calendar. You want to see? I know you want to see the calendar.
Of course.
Yep. Just come on. Let's go.
Oops, hang on. Oh, we're still live. We're still live.
Yep, I know. We're still waiting.
But I don't care. People can see my ugly mug.
Yeah, but think about the children.
I think that's why you're light, so you can cut them off.
Nah,
the children.
He's shown his face before. Anyway,
join. Real Raven says he needs to see it too. Well, you can always join in the after show. Come on the stream.
Yeah, come on back, Real Raven. You're welcome. Yeah, anyway, so check out Cocoscope, Baby Box Value Life Pastor Review of Alicia Clegg, aka Toxic Thread.
Yeah. Look at that smouldering look. I mean, well, both of them, but especially the thumbnail. And then there's those ugly old men.
I have fake eyelashes on in there, man. I rock the fake eyelashes.
But the beautiful shading on your cheeks. I mean, it's amazing.
There's something else. There's something else, and I'm going to say it anyway. My wife basically said something that sometimes Alicia talks like she talks in this video. She talks very seriously, and she loves it. And sometimes Alicia talks like, in a way, seductive. I think seductive is the wrong word, but I hope you understand what I mean. The way she plays with her voice. And my wife absolutely doesn't like that.
You mean she's jealous?
I don't know what she means.
It might be the tone. I don't know. It because it's hard. She probably respects me when I'm being honest.
Oh yeah, no, but she absolutely respects you.
Yeah, no, but I mean
about that. But when you make a video and like this video, the way you talk, she feels it much more easy to listen to what you have to say than when you speak in a different way. I don't really.
I know exactly what she's talking about. I appreciate that feedback. That helps me a lot, actually.
All right, so I'm gonna go for a minute. I'll be back if we're live or not.
All right, go down. Say bye to everybody. Bye, everybody.
Goodbye, everybody. Is anyone left not in the stream itself?
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, we are
watching and 5 of us here.
Real Raven, you have my link to the.
He's on.
Is he back on?
Okay, shut it down. Shut it down.
Oh, okay. People, check out my merch. Hey, see you all next time, and thank you for joining us. Bye-bye.